নমস্কার, দেখছেন জি 24 ঘন্টা। আপনাদের সঙ্গে রয়েছে আমি সম্প্রীতি, আর আপনাদের সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাই এই বিশেষ অনুষ্ঠান বীর গাথা দ্য আনটোল্ড স্টোরি। তাহলে চলুন আর দেরি না করে আপনাদের নিয়ে যাই এই বিশেষ অনুষ্ঠান মিনিস্ট্রি অফ ডিফেন্স এবং মিনিস্ট্রি অফ এডুকেশনের যৌথ উদ্যোগের বীর গাথা দ্য আনটোল্ড স্টোরি।
Lieutenant Colonel Amarjit Singh.
Very good morning to you all and Jai Hind, especially Honorable GOC sir, senior officers and all the academia, those who have come from all over the Kolkata. Anybody from the audience, especially from the grown-up graduate people who are sitting top and behind all over, what is the difference between insurgency and terrorist?
Sir, I think the inside agency are the anti-social groups which are formed within our country.
You can recognize a terrorist when he is in his outfit. But you can never recognize an insurgent. He will be sitting there, you don't know. So primarily my operations and everything, my activities were confined to Manipur, and especially one place in Manipur, which is southeast of Ukhrul, which is here. We were getting regular inputs from these things. These are the name of the groups. The info what we got of this place, this village, we reached there. But in the meantime, there was one chap who was slightly of that village, slightly versed with Hindi. He came to me. बोला कि साहब आप यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हो, यहाँ पे कोई मिल्टन शिल्टन नहीं आता, यहाँ पे इतने आदमी लेके क्या कर रहे हो आप, क्यों हमें परेशान कर रहे हो यहाँ पर? तो in the slip of the tongue that chap said, साहब यहाँ तो मिल्टन 1 महीने पहले आए थे. That one point struck me. I got the hold of chap, put a weapon towards him just to interrogate, to put a fear on. I am going to shoot you until and unless you tell me. If militants have come or somebody insurgents have come 1 month back, how come I am not aware? I am the company commander. After some grueling, the villagers came to his rescue and said, yes, there are some people with weapons. They are staying 4 to 5 kilometers from here. And there are 2 kids, 16, 17 years, they have gone through the Burma route to give them food. Don't kill them. Then we divided the parties into two assault groups, one led by me, one led by Assistant Commandant Bhatt of Assam Rifle, and there was one stop group to plug their exit route. We decided to make a team C led by the Lieutenant Colonel Jha. In this area, this is the actual target area. There is the clearing you can see. Without any communication, without anybody telling you something, some instinct, the survival instinct will tell you there is something fishy. And the same happened with the terrorists who were there in this insurgent camp. He just came out in the lower, just a battle fatigue, just fired 2 shots, speculative. मतलब कुछ उसको डर सा लगा है, कुछ लगा. When he fired shot, I got the authority. I fired the first salvo, or must be around 4 or 5 rounds, because I was in very, very good position. And I can see from this place 2 chaps falling down. One was on the gate of the hut, another was on the other side of the hut. After 2 hours of battle, when the evening was setting, this operation is happening not in night, it is happening in broad daylight. धीरे धीरे जो temperature नीचे जा रहा था, तो it made a small cloud of fog. I put, trust me, 2 LMGs with 2 magazines and 8 AKs, whatever was left over, directed toward this fog, and we just poofed off. After this thing, one of those chaps died, which was later, the other chap carried them to Burma, and one was cremated later. They were given to the village. The total 5 were killed in this operation. I believe this presentation was fruitful to you all. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Now let's proceed towards our next Veer. Next we have Vice Admiral Bishwajit Das Gupta, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, Yudh Seva Medal, and Vishisht Seva Medal. Can we please have you up on the stage, sir?
Good morning to everybody, and thank you very much for that kind introduction. Many of you may not have any exposure to the oceans or to the seas. So I will cover the basics so that you understand. I will not go too much into detail. That you can ask me over tea or during the question hour. You know, there are two kinds of navies. One navy is that the navy that does trade, takes goods from one place and to another place. And there is a second navy, which is the military part of waterborne forces, which fights. So the trade navy is called the merchant navy, and the military navy is called the Indian Navy. And what I'm going to talk to you is about what your navy does for you. So this is what the role of the navy is. There are 4 roles of the navy. The most important role is the military role, which I'm not going to talk about. Now I'm going to talk to you for the next few minutes about the benign role. And this is something which many of you would have read in the papers without realizing what your navy is doing in the country and outside the country. Now, the Indian diaspora. Indian diaspora are the people of Indian origin and the non-resident Indians who are living abroad. There are 32 million of these people outside our country. Right, so when you have so much diaspora abroad, if something goes wrong abroad, there is a clamor for them to come back. And that is where the Indian Navy comes in. This is a benign mission which we call non-combatant or combatant evacuation. That means evacuation of our nationals and other friendly nationals from a country which is under strife. And combatant evacuation means you have to fight your way through. A non-combatant evacuation means you don't have to fight your way through. The situation is under control by the local administration. You just pick up your people and bring them back. So let me start with Operation Rahat. Was conducted in 2015. This is the one which I conducted. And this was basically the armed forces of the country were fighting against the Houthi rebels in the Yemen. And the fighting became so intense that the civilian administration collapsed. Again, the Indians had to be brought back. So 3 ships were pressed into service. There were 3 ports, port of Aden, the port of Hodeidah, and the port of Ash-Shahir, which is on the coast of Yemen, were used quickly to go in and evacuate our Indian people. Now, evacuation operations is not just you go and pick up somebody and bring them back. You know nothing. You know nobody in that host country. Maybe our Indian mission is defunct. So you have to get people from adjoining countries where our missions are operational, bring them there, do customs, do immigration, do their background checks, do their medical checks, all sorts of things. Whatever you would do to go from here to any other foreign country, everything has to be done at the doorstep of the ship. So this is the kind of humanitarian assistance, disaster relief and benign work that the Indian Navy does. I've finished. Thank you.
वाइस एडमिरल विश्वजीत दासगुप्ता सर हमारे साथ अभी हैं। यहाँ पे जितने बच्चे हैं, स्टूडेंट्स हैं, बहुत अलग अलग जगह से आए हुए हैं। आप कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं हमारे इंडियन नेवी के बारे में? क्या पूछना चाहते हैं आप सर?
रिसेंटली G20 समिट में नेवी को लेके एक एक्शन लिया गया है हमारे अरबिक ओशन एंड इंडियन ओशन की तरफ, तो व्हाट्स अबाउट इट? आई वांट टू नो अबाउट इट.
Cooperation at sea is something which is part of our diplomatic role, which I told you. Now, any international engagement that happens, whether it is G20 or whether it is any other engagement between nations, there is always a maritime angle. Now, whether that maritime angle is for military exercises or whether it is for training or whether it is for subject matter expert exchanges, all of this has an angle of diplomacy, trade. G20 is essentially a block of 20 nations that want to do things for the common good and amongst themselves. So there are several initiatives in the maritime field also.
So once again, a big round of
Thank you very
applause for sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Our third distinct speaker today is a living legend whose valor and unwavering dedication to the cause of freedom and humanity have left a significant mark in the history. Allow me to introduce Wing Commander Shomeer Chaudhary, Vishisht Seva Medal, a true hero whose incredible exploits during the 1971 Indo-Pakistan War have earned him a place of honor and admiration in the hearts of millions of Indians. Once again, let's welcome him together.
I am only going to speak to you on a very limited subject of my involvement in the 1971 War of Liberation for Bangladesh. The 71 war started in December of 3rd December 1971, but Sheikh Mujibur Rahman declared Bangladesh unilateral independence on 26th of March 1971. The next day, with this aircraft, I was positioned in Dum Dum Airport with the sole objective of giving support to the Army, the Navy, and most important to the Mukti Bahinis, including evacuating casualties of people who have been injured even before the war took place. Agartala was the base which was most close to Dhaka, so that was they needed all the arms, ammunitions and the stores over there. And that was my task for 9 months before the war. I was doing this on a daily basis. It takes 4.5 hours to reach in that aircraft. It's a slow aircraft. It took 4.5 hours from Dum Dum to reach Agartala. So what were the threats to this? The most important threat was, if you see on the map, Agartala airfield runs north to south, but the tip of the airfield is just about 2 kilometers from the border, international border from either side. So each time I landed in Agartala, I had to overfly Bangladesh without any problems, and every time we could see the white puffs of smoke of anti-aircraft guns booming, or as I'm told, some told me that it was small arms, some said it was anti-aircraft guns, but my luck, I did not get hit. At Boira, where you see that star over there, 3 of their Sabres were shot down by our Indian Air Force pilots. So the war from the air started well before anything else happened. The next is this time frame is the time when you have the monsoons, and during the monsoons you have heavy rain, heavy clouds, and that aircraft which I was flying, we had no weather radar like you have today, so that you can avoid the weather, or you have to either fly through it or you have to fly below it, and the aircraft could not fly over the weather. If I have an opportunity, maybe in my next life, I would still like to join the Indian Air Force and the transport fleet, because that is where, even whether it is in war or in peace, you get the satisfaction of seeing what you have done. Thank you very much. If you have got questions. If you have questions, I'd like to take them on.
सो सर एयरफोर्स कैसे काम करती है लाइक आसमान में, क्योंकि वहाँ तो काफ़ी ऐसे फॉग वगैरह होता है, कभी वेदर ख़राब होता है, कभी ऐसे अचानक से तूफान वगैरह आता है, मतलब अचानक से सब कुछ होता है, तो आप नेविगेट कैसे करते हैं एंड स्पॉट कैसे करते हैं कि वो एनिमी का लाइक एयरक्राफ्ट है?
I can only tell you, I retired from the Air Force 40 years back. At that time, we did not have GPS. We did not have the communication system that we had. We used to be on the Morse code, and we used to keep shouting on the radio telephone, "You're very dim, you're very dim, I can't hear you, I can't hear you." If you are defying the laws of God, do not defy the laws of the air. So if you follow the laws of the air, you will live like me till the age of 80. Thank you very much. I don't think I have time for more. I would hand over the next speaker. I don't want to exceed the time limit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
today, as we have the privilege of hearing from Colonel Bajpai, a big round of applause as we welcome him.
Hello, my friends. Jai Hind to all of you. So, first of all of us are extremely happy that all of you have been able to come to Fort William. And I am personally very happy that I will be able to share one of my few experiences with you. Hope it will inspire all of you and you will like it. The date was 8 October 2006. It was a Sunday. We were based somewhere in Lower Assam and we used to operate. There was a lot of forest, paddy fields. So me and my company, like what Colonel Amarjit had told, company operating base, we also used to stay in a similar place. And that day I just decided that I have to meet someone in a village, far off in a forest. So 5 of us, we went in a gypsy, 6 of us rather, including a driver, to a place. You can see the gypsy standing. We call it a village A. And the plan was to go to village B, where I had to meet someone. I was leading in the front. My buddy was few steps behind me. The civilian interpreter was even few steps behind him. We crossed a river. So there were people floating bamboos in that. The civilian interpreter asked that, are there terrorists in the village ahead? So he told, no, I belong to this village, there is no one there. Now, unknown to us, a group of 8 terrorists were walking towards us on the same track on which we were walking towards the village. I was somewhere here and they were somewhere there. And it was all in darkness. The distance at which this thing took place, action took place, was roughly 25 to 30 yards. What happened? I was just walking in the lead. So someone just shined a torch on my face. To avoid that, I just stepped on a side and immediately the light was switched off. The place from where the light was shined on my face, 2 AK-47s opened up. So all I was able to see was the flash coming out of the muzzle of the weapons and the rounds hitting just behind me, above me. Actually, when a bullet flies close to you, you hear it something like the flying of buzzing bees. So that evening, I heard a lot of bees buzzing over my head and around me. I immediately kneeled down and I fired, assuming where that person who were firing on me, 9 single shots. And then there was absolutely quiet. We heard something like a stone falling in the bushes. So unknown to us, a grenade was lobbed at us. It went off. So we moved a torch and we found someone trying to lob a grenade and we neutralized him. Later on in the forest, after a few days, 3 more bodies were found. So basically we got 4 of them that day. We came back to unit, we recovered the weapon, came back to unit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I finished, sir.
Jai Hind, sir. So my question is that suppose you are injured in the battlefield.
Yes.
So what kind of first aid measures you take? Thank you.
We have got a trained nursing assistant with us. And most of us have some knowledge of providing basic medical assistance, stopping the flow of blood. And we always have radio sets and mobile phones to have in contact and get the fastest possible means to evacuate whosoever is wounded.
The final speaker is a true hero who has displayed brilliant courage and resilience throughout his remarkable journey. Please allow me to introduce Major General H. Dharmarajan.
It's wonderful to see such an august audience, particularly with the likes of all the stalwarts that we have seen here today. Each and every one of you here, gallant girls and brave boys of all different schools, all far and near, who have come here today, you are going to be the future heroes, and very soon there would not be, it's not too long, far away that you would be standing here expressing your stories in the times to come. As to what types of lessons you could possibly have garnered from the short stories that you all heard, in terms of what is the secret of gallantry? How exactly can a person become gallant? There are 4 things to sum up in a very simplistic manner. The first thing is that desire to be able to see that vision in front of you. I call it Ichha Shakti. The second aspect that I wanted to highlight is the Kriya Shakti, that is your ability to take action. The third is the Jnana Shakti, that is the knowledge in order to know that I can take an action in the face of risk. And the fourth is something which is very unique, is your Pratibha Shakti, means your ability to take a decision. Gallantry does not need you to be only in uniform. You, as all good citizens of the country, can stand up to be gallant wherever you are, whenever you are, and it is well feasible for you to cultivate, nurture this particular aspect within your own selves. The entire nation, the entire globe, that gallantry is still the hallmark of what we are all here for today. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.
Sir, I am Shreya Datta from iLead College. So I want to ask that as human beings, we do have this fear of death, as in we have families to look after and all. So before even coming to the service, do you had this fear, or it has never occurred to you, or it has built over time that you have accustomed with this whole service and doing it for our nation?
Yeah, a very good question. And something which you need to understand, that all of us have fears. And it's not that though you do often highlight that, a Gorkha or a soldier, if anybody says that I'm not, afraid of death, even Field Marshal Sam Monakshaw had said that he's either lying, especially if he says I'm not afraid of death. So to that extent, gallantry is not necessarily the aspect of just wanting to face death. But as you undertake training for a soldier, once you start doing that, you realize that there is a sense of confidence which builds within you. That's where you learn to overcome the fear of death or fear of injury, which comes over a period of time.
I would request everyone, can we please give a standing ovation to sir?
বাংলার আওয়াজ, বাঙালির আবেগ, জি 24 ঘন্টা।